Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about Bring Her Back. This is the second film directed by my RackaRacka boys, Danny and Michael Philippou. It's an unnerving psychological horror film that blends occult and trauma. Starring Sally Hawkins, Barratt, Sora Wong, and Jonah Wren Phillips, this small cast weaves a tale of grief run amok, and I can easily say this is one of my favorite films this year. Quick heads up, this review may contain the occasional spoiler, but I'll do my best to avoid them because I really like this movie. 17-year-old Andy and his visually impaired half-sister Piper are plunged into chaos after discovering their father dead. Assigned to foster mother Laura and her foster son Oliver, their fragile stability shatters as Laura's sinister agenda is slowly revealed, a ritual to revive her drowned blind daughter Kathy. Dude, this movie is intense, and I would dare put it at the same level as Hereditary. At its core, this film is a deep dive into grief and obsession. The film stays away from jump scares and instead builds a palpable tension from start to end. Adding to the tension are some grotesque body horror scenes. No joke, there's a moment where Oliver does something that makes it so hard to keep watching the screen. The sound in that scene literally sent shivers down my spine. If you've seen RackaRacka's Ronald McDonald videos, then that should give you an idea about the level of gruesome that this film is. Bring Her Back is significantly different than the twins' first film, Talk to Me. It's definitely a spiritual successor of sorts, but it has a completely different tone and pacing. Talk to Me was fast-paced and felt more like a traditional modern horror movie like Insidious or Ouija. Bring Her Back is significantly heavier, slower, and more suffocating. It's a lot more intimate and psychologically focused with a huge spotlight on power imbalance. The power imbalance is what makes Laura a vile lady. Sally Hawkins is phenomenal in this role. She is the perfect amount of nurturing and delusional. To the kids' faces, she's kind and sweet and emotionally manipulates them into thinking she's always got their back. It is painstaking watching her gaslight and lie to the kids as she stages the ritual in secret. Even when Andy finally becomes aware of what's happening, he can't push back against her without driving Piper away. Laura successfully deconstructs the siblings' relationship with such subtlety that you feel terrible for Andy. No joke, I think Sally Hawkins delivers the best performance I've seen so far this year. And speaking of good performances, I was incredibly impressed with Barratt and Sora Wong. I'm normally not a fan of child actors because they come off so cheesy and their dialogue feels so forced, but these two actors get the job done. They have good chemistry and they feel like they could be half siblings. Billy does a wonderful job of playing a big brother who's forced to grow up too fast. His repression and guilt are subtle, and for his sister's sake, he holds in many of his feelings. He's vulnerable and barely holding himself together. Sora Wong is equally as good, and the fact that she actually has limited vision in real life makes this movie feel more authentic and personal. Her vulnerability as a child and as someone who can't see makes her the perfect target for Laura. I admired how her acting wasn't overexpressed or exaggerated. There's a stillness and tone to her that conveys hope, fear, and quiet strength. The other child actor who completely blew me away was Jonah Wren Phillips. His 1,000-yard stare had me terrified from start to finish. He barely speaks, yet everything he does speaks volumes. He is a canvas of demonic transformation and the character that made me wince several times while watching this film. There's something so disturbing about seeing a child be the center of a body horror film. Whether it's the popping veins, bloodshot eyes, or bloated belly, Jonah looks hellish and it brings bone-deep horror to the film. The remainder of the supporting cast is very small, but Misha Haywood, Stephen Phillips, and Sally Ann Upton are all great. They help drive the narrative forward, and that's what matters. One of the reasons I admire the Philippou twins is because they know their way around a camera. Bring Her Back is visually oppressive, deliberately restrained, and intricately designed to immerse you in the grief, dread, and claustrophobia. The camera lingers rather than leaps and moves with purpose rather than panic. The stillness results in a crawling sense of discomfort and tension. There are close-ups that make you feel cornered and trapped. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I'm about 65% positive that there's occult imagery hidden throughout the backgrounds. They're never the focus, but they build atmosphere subconsciously. The result is a setting that feels inescapable. Composer Cornel Wilsek collaborates with the twins again, bringing a soundtrack that is tragic and ceremonial. It doesn't scream for attention, but rather seeps into your skin, shaping your emotions in each scene. Rather than the sharp, pulsating synth-heavy sounds that Talk to Me had, the score uses drones and strings to generate an ambient decay and unsettling silence. Things feel ritualistic and discordant, making the hair on your neck stand up. While this film unfortunately doesn't have another banger like Le Monde, the soundtrack still elevates the film into a grotesque climax. Running for just an hour and 39 minutes, this film was the perfect runtime. All the main characters were fleshed out and the narrative flowed smoothly. Any longer and it would have been hard to stomach the brutal body horror in the film. So this movie gets 2 thumbs up from me. Bring Her Back is a masterclass in restrained horror. It's one that favors dread over jump scares, emotional collapse over cheap thrills, and grief over gore, even though it still gives you some of the most gruesome imagery I've seen all year. The Philippou brothers have proven that they're not just viral sensations, but real filmmakers with vision and range. With powerhouse performances from Sally Hawkins, Barratt, Sora Wong, and Jonah Wren Phillips, plus haunting cinematography and a sorrow-soaked score, this is the kind of horror film that hurts in the best way. It's grim, raw, and completely unforgettable. If talktome was their adrenaline rush, Bring Her Back is their grotesque funeral hymn, and I loved every hard-to-watch second of it. I went back and forth between giving this film a 9 and a 10, but the longer I've sat with my feelings, I've grown to appreciate the film and RackaRacka's vision significantly more. If you like horror movies, then I can highly recommend this one, but be warned, there are some squeamish scenes. Thank you for listening to my review of Bring Her Back. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.